Hello everybody, welcome back to Sprueverse, my scale model universe, people of Earth. Welcome back to the channel, a special edition of Sprueverse. This is a quick 28-minute hangout video with my dear friend Lou Dalmaso, who popped by last week for my birthday. He was kind enough to bring out some masks for our 1/650 Helios builds, and he helped me generously with his time to at least mask the top of my saucer. I've got the bottom, neck, and nacelles to figure out. We are working on a few extra details on those masks, so there'll be a lot more in the next update that will be along shortly. I've been traveling, so I'm only back in the studio now, but I wanted to get some content out, and I thought this was really fun to just put this up so that you could just enjoy this as much as I enjoyed having him with me for the week. So enjoy the video, and we'll see you on the next update. Take care. Okay, over to Lou now, and I wanted a couple of things I wanted to talk about.
I'm so happy with it.
Yes,
still playing with it.
Yeah, still playing with it. One of the things I wanted to talk about actually was I wanted to talk about Disneyland.
You bastard! You said you would never bring that up again. No,
no, I wanted to because you know, we really focused the trip on Galaxy's Edge.
Yes.
And got a chance to, you know, we weren't rushing from ride to ride to ride, so we got a chance to really look at the architecture, look at how it was put together. And you had
we got a chance to crash the Falcon at a leisurely pace.
Yeah, well, you were flying, thank goodness. I was not flying, but I also because you brought up a really beautiful point, which is Galaxy's Edge. They went out of their way to essentially immerse you in a world as opposed to.
It's a lot more isolated, and I appreciated that, especially with space being a premium in Disneyland as opposed to. I've never been to Disney World, so I got no reference for it. But I was telling Phil that the nice thing about Galaxy's Edge is when you look up, you see the spires, you see the sky, and I mean, unless you're seeing a plane fly by or you see our terrestrial moon in the sky, you could be, you know, on this other planet. And I'm sorry, I don't. Bantu, I think, is the name of the planet. You would know that, but that was something that was lacking in other parts of the park. Where if I'm, you know, on the Pirates of the Caribbean, I can look over to my left and I see parts of Tomorrowland. It's like you just don't get that yet. You don't get the bubbleness of it. You're not in a bubble like you are in the Galaxy's Edge.
Yeah, and sadly we didn't get to go on Space Mountain.
Always next time.
Always next time. They were down. You know, that roller coaster is so old now. It seems to be down all the time, and then they've got I don't know if you've been on YouTube and you've watched these videos of people going Space Mountain with the lights on, and you just see this roller coaster and just waiting and hearing that voice from beyond saying, you know, please remain seated. We are having technical difficulties, and then they all get taken off and have to walk on the catwalks, and I guess that's been happening a lot more lately than it used to. At least that's the impression, but that I got. But we had a great time. We built some very cool lightsabers.
You want me to slide over here so we can stay in the same shot?
Yeah, you want to come over?
You don't have to keep moving back.
Okay, all right.
Swapping cameras.
But on day one, we went over to Peterson and then the Peterson Museum.
Mm-hmm.
Saw some cool movie cars.
Some great cars.
And your passion for the bubble cars.
The passion for the clown car, the bubble car, the oddity, the concept car that never makes it to production.
Yeah, all different shapes and sizes, and they were a lot of fun. So after we had done that, we went over to Griffith Observatory. And I'll slip some photos in while we're talking so that you can see. But there will be some exclusive content that I will not be showing you that will be on Lou's channel. So it'll be a completely different immersive experience when he shares his images. We'll make sure that he has.
All of my pictures will have Phil in it. All of Phil's pictures will have me in it. That's how you'll be able to tell.
That's how you'll be able to tell. But it was a wonderful day. I mean, obviously, the Griffith Park Observatory is an it's one of those iconic places where a lot of films have been shot, going all the way back to some of the classics, and then Rebel Without a Cause, and on and on and on. You can Google it if you don't know about the observatory, but it's iconic. And then from there, we took a quick trip down to the Burbank House of Hobbies. How could you not go to your local hobby shop, the mecca of our lives, right? And we picked up some paint and some other stuff, as you do.
Sundries,
yeah. And that was day one. Day two, we on day two,
Warner Brothers.
We went to Warner Brothers. We took a studio tour at Warner Brothers, and it was great fun. There's some wonderful shots of us walking around the sets, and really getting an immersive experience at a working studio. So it was really, really fun to be there. And of course, every studio has its own its movie slate, and sadly these days, this lot, which is 110 acres, doesn't do a lot of film production anymore. It's a lot of television production. Most of their film work has gone off, whether it's in the UK, New Mexico, Canada, Australia, wherever
Georgia,
it's gone. Yeah, it's not there, but television is, obviously. And so we saw a lot of that. But it was fun to experience a working studio. And we did get a chance to see some Batman stuff.
Some Justice League costumes, and yeah.
So it was very cool. Did you enjoy it?
I very much enjoyed it, yes.
Was it...
I know most of that's old news to you.
No.
TV production, Hollywood production.
No, I cannot tell you how much fun it is for me to watch. Backlots are my favorite thing to do. I don't know what it is about the facades.
Let me tell you, kids, if you are a Gilmore Girls fan, everything Gilmore Girls is on that backlot.
Yeah, it is. It's like they threw up Gilmore Girls over there.
And Pretty Little Liars.
Yeah.
And a couple of other shows.
Well, they were big into obviously Young Sheldon.
Young Sheldon, Big Bang Theory,
Big
Friends.
Bang Theory. They've got something filming now called Abbott.
Abbott Elementary.
Abbott Elementary, which is their big deal now, and we saw them setting up to shoot that.
All American, I think, was the other one.
Yeah, and
high school drama.
Yeah, and they showed us a lot of ER locations and sets. Obviously, The Waltons was filmed there many years ago. If anybody
world's
remembers.
Tallest soundstage.
Yes, the world's tallest soundstage is definitely there, and it's great. It was the world of James Cagney and the gangster movies. So it was very much film noir, and their world was very different than obviously the Universal world, which was the monsters and comedy, and Paramount was even more fantasy and science fiction, so it was great. It was nice to see that, and we did that on Thursday, and then on Friday we were off to Disneyland.
Off to Disney, yes.
Saturday we spent all day in the shop
working here. 9 to 5.
9 to 5. What a way to make a living.
I tell you.
And it was awesome.
All taking, no giving.
And it was awesome. We had a great time doing that, and of course on Sunday.
Today is the big man's birthday.
Yeah, I'm 21.
We're going to have dinner and spankings.
Yes, tonight.
We'll be happening. Yes.
So it was wonderful. This morning we started off down at the metal shop with Taylor at Avalon Metals. We spent quite a bit of time talking about structural integrity for this saucer, so that's going to be great, and we'll feature a lot of that in the next update, the fifth update, not the fourth. But so that was terrific, and I was thrilled we were able to do that. And then we went over to Burbank House of Hobbies again, because as I've showed you, we had to rethink the I guess you call them louvered. I don't know what you would call them.
It's meant to look like a roll top desk, I'm imagining.
Yeah, but to me,
those doors never opened anyway.
No. So anyway, The ribbing on mine was very thin, and it didn't even match the ribbing on the main shuttle bay, which was completely washed out. So we need to do this anyway. So we went back to the hobby shop to pick up some stuff for that, and then we took a trip up to Vasquez Rocks.
Everyone's favorite filming location.
And make sure you go over to Lou's channel, Aztek Dummy, because exclusive footage of Lou climbing,
scampering like a monkey up a hill.
And I'm sure he'll have stories for you, and I'm going to leave that alone so that I don't rain on his parade. But it was great fun. We had a wonderful time, and
there was a disappointing lack of killer lizards. Disappointing lack.
Now,
bipedal lizard people.
I want to ask you something, because this build, I'm 3 weeks in now, maybe 4 weeks.
Yes.
And I've got a long way to go.
And I've got a hell of a long way to catch up with what you've already got done.
So, in your estimation, is this something we're going to see on your channel this year, or is it?
Oh, most definitely. It would be my. I would say definitely for the next 2 or 3 items I will be starting this. So it'll be probably my fall into winter build. I definitely want to get it done before November.
Okay. So it's going to be great for even me to follow him along, because whether he likes to say it or not, I mean, his thought process is fantastic. We learn an awful lot. Most of what I do, I've learned from him. But his thought process and his patience and his artistic genius, this is going to be, it's going to be great to watch him approach his D as well. But we've also, it just reminded me, I've got to look and see if we're using, well, I don't have registries from Keith. He sent me some things, decals, but separated decals.
Right.
But we don't have registry. You're going to make that.
I got those from Rick.
Oh, fantastic. That's right. He did. So we're going to paint this. We are not going to use these decals. Daniel, if you're watching any of this, we're not using your decals. But I will be calling you, and I will be asking you specifically some very detailed questions about your decals.
I am going to attempt to paint this. I am going to be using the decals as provided for placement purposes.
Okay.
Just to lay out the geography of it.
So we know where everything goes.
So we're placing things, landmarks and such like that.
Right.
But I'm going to try to paint it. It's just in my nature to try a painted solution before I use wallpaper decals.
Right, but there is some vinyl we're going to be adding. The sensor band around the ship, where there's clear black markings, very clear distinctive markings around the very edge.
The front window, the 10 forward windows, and the windows around the very edge of the saucer, they're not provided in the decals. They were never lit, at least on the 6-foot model. So they look very much like, from what our reference picture looks like, they look like very much like black vinyl applique. We're going to do the same thing. Yeah, perfect. And then when everything is down and locked in, we are okay to hit those with a mat. A light coat with a mat.
Yeah, and that will seal those in. But that is it. There's also some, I think they're portholes. Are they portholes on the neck where we're missing?
Yeah, they're rounded windows. They're probably portholes. Yeah, but whether or not they are through windows, I don't believe they were lit. So we can get away with putting black vinyl dots there for those windows.
Yeah, and that's what we're going to do there. And I've got some other detailed parts. We've got some photo etch that I've pulled that we're going to use just to help with there are some very distinct details. I've showed you some of those in the update that's coming, which will be 4, of some clear markings, some very distinct marks. And I don't know, would you call them greeblies? What would you call them? The little square plates and the bars under the shuttle bay.
Greeblies.
They're greeblies.
Yeah.
They were non-existent on the kit, and they weren't supplied, so we're adding them. Well, I've added them. I don't know what Lou's going to do, but I've added them just because they're there, and we've been given a fantastic set of detailed photos of the actual filming miniature, so I'm very grateful for that. And they're there. They're very, very clearly there. As are some other little greeblies that we're going to add, I think, with some photo etch. Thank you, Paul. We're using your photo etch, just little bits.
Where you intended them or not, we're using them.
That's right, because we bought them, so we could use them. But that will help tremendously too. And it's those little details that I think are going to really polish this up. So I wanted to carry on a little bit because I wanted to talk about something that I think it's a fun conversation, and that is about paint color, paint schemes, tone, and the approach to color choices, and how does someone like myself who's learning about color, how should I think about what colors are harmonious with each other, and what makes sense in terms of a base coat and building those up? Is there an approach to that?
There's two different approaches, really, because if you're trying to emulate something that already exists, you gather your references. They've already done, do these two colors work together okay? Because they've already done that work when they built their original thing. You're just trying to duplicate what they've done.
Right.
When you're doing your own design, your whole raison d'etre, your whole reason for doing a ship may be to throw those rules out the window. If you're doing an alien ship, maybe in their world green and red go together. Maybe they green and brown. Color combinations you would never use on Earth. That may be their flag.
Right.
So those rules go completely out of the book. It's all a question of if you're attempting realism or not.
Okay. Because to me it's really important. I've really learned over watching your paint is, it can start out quite harsh and hard, and then it gets blended back and it gets softened. Sometimes you change your mind, and paint is paint, so it's okay.
Paint is paint, and color choice is extremely personal. It happens under your lighting, on your desk, on your workbench, with your eyesight. And if you are colorblind, or if you don't know if you're colorblind, you paint to what you like, and don't let anyone tell you you're using the wrong colors.
I love it. Now, for you, I know that when I watch the channel, I love the fact that you are you're very you like to sort of mix it up a little bit, and sometimes you don't know what you're going to build until you've gone to your stash or you've thought about it.
That's true most of the time. It's a Monday morning decision.
Right. And sometimes I don't know if you do it much in now. I haven't seen you do it lately. You used to build a couple of things at once.
Yeah, I will do, while I'm building this, I will be building other things along the road, because this is going to take so much time and so much brain work that and so much time to dry between coats and things like that I don't want people to get bored. I don't want me to get bored.
Yeah.
Usually if it takes me more than 5 weeks to do something, I'm ready to be done with it.
Yeah.
So if I can work a week on this and then a week somewhere else, then I'm less bored with this.
So I should follow David Lynch's advice, and in the middle of the spark plug coffee table,
put a squirrel. Put a squirrel inside the... Yes.
Yeah.
Because why not? After so long... there's only so many pictures of a Starship Hull.
That's right.
People want to see a squirrel.
Right. Although I have to say, it is a lot of fun to watch something like this come together.
And it's not so much fun for me, but I've realized that it makes good content is when I start down a rabbit hole and know it, maybe that's not how I wanted to do that.
Yeah. Well,
is it too late to fix it? Well, sometimes it's too late to fix it, then you have the space station.
well, I definitely saw that on your concept shuttle where you had a break. You cracked.
I cracked that hole like an egg. It was the crack heard wide.
And you copped to it too, which was,
Oh yeah. There's no way to hide that.
I thought that was awesome, but it was a great learning experience, and it came together beautifully.
And it was low stakes.
Yeah,
It was this is very high stakes model building
Yeah.
because it's an expensive kit. To get a replacement part would be excruciatingly hard.
yeah, very difficult. I don't even think he would do it, would he?
No, I don't know.
No.
I wouldn't want to risk it.
Right.
But this is high stakes model building, just like building a refit, Phil.
Yeah.
Is high stakes model building.
Yeah, not the greatest move to try and do
and
that.
it's not something that one does not simply walk into Gondor.
No, no. You must. When you can snatch the pebbles from my hand, then you can go build a 1-3.
Then it's time for you to leave. But what we do, we want to make sure we are doing deliberately and methodically, and have hashed out as many of the. There will be problems that will come up that we have not thought of, but we need to make sure that we have dealt with as much as we can think of before we get started.
Yeah, but I will say one of the things that I learned from you very early on, and I talk about it to myself all the time before I'm ready to close something up, or when I know I've got a lot of weight on something, is you always use the term belts and suspenders.
Belts and suspenders.
In other words, if you think it's not engineered correctly, or you think it's engineered well, over-engineer it. If you think there's a weak spot there and you have a risk of something breaking, don't hesitate to be a little more over the top in terms of what you do to make sure something stays in place.
Particularly if you're getting ready to close up a hull, give it a shake. If something comes loose, it was going to come loose in the future.
Yeah.
Test it out now.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not saying throwing it in the back of the truck and drive around town or anything, but you don't have to drop it from a height to see whether it'll take it or anything.
Right.
But yeah, give it a shake. If there's a piece that's going to come loose, it's going to come loose then.
Well, I'm really excited about watching you build this, and I can't thank you enough. I want to do it on camera. Personally, thank you for your time and your generosity.
Well, you're more than welcome.
And your kindness.
And I think the time that we're spending here getting all of the issues ironed out, as far as when we put that on, well, I'm looking at that picture. When we put the stand or the secondary hull on that stand, it is rock solid and it is not going to move.
Yeah.
And then that gives us the confidence to work off of the rest of it.
Yeah. We're in good hands with Avalon Metalworks. Taylor is doing a great job down there, and I know confidently now that this model, regardless of how I butcher it, will not collapse on that stand. But we still have some interesting technical issues in terms of how this thing is epoxied together and making sure that we assemble it correctly.
And I think we've thought of things that Helios has never thought of.
No.
I think what we do. I wouldn't be surprised if Helios didn't start copying what we're doing on ours with their commission builds.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, because it will make it sleeker, and with what you're going to do with yours, easier to ship.
I'm hoping so. My goal is to make my saucer removable, not because I want to do a fancy scene of it crashing into a planet. No, I want to be able to take it apart for transport if I'm driving it to Wonderfest. Fingers crossed it will be at Wonderfest next year. But I want to be able to take the saucer off just for ease of transport. And what we're given, we should be able to do. And I think it's, at this point, something that's still doable. We'll have jacks to unplug the wiring and a socket for the support bar to go into. When I get to my build, bore you to tears with that, but that's my goal. That's different from Phil's goal.
Well, you got a lot. I'm looking forward to your thought process, because what you're attempting to do and will do, I know brilliantly, it's going to take some thought. Mm-hmm. So I wish you well.
Thank you, sir.
So there you go. Okay, that's a little bit of a hangout. I hope you enjoyed this extra content. If
visit 2024.
If you want to get a hold of me, I'm spruverse@gmail.com. And you can also follow my daily In the Weeds posts on Instagram. And you can follow the great Lou Dalmaso. He's the Aztek Dummy.
I only report weekly, sometimes very weekly. But I do week videos. I sometimes post on Facebook under Lou Dalmaso, and Aztek Dummy under the Aztek Dummy channel on YouTube.
And don't forget to go over to Cult TV Man and go to the mask section on Steve's website and get every single mask set they sell.
It keeps me off the streets.
You would be stimulating the economy. So anyway, thanks a lot for all your kind support of this channel, and of course Lou's. And as always, we wish all of you be safe, be well, build something, and we'll see you next time. Take care, everybody. Be well.